For those who don't know, a chemist is usually someone who sells you over-the-counter medicine to help you with a specific ailment, injury, or disorder. The Chemists are a band that formed in 2004 in Brighton, England, and only have electronic rock to sell you. Well, maybe that's a bit of a harsh assessment, but considering that I'm 99.9% blind for this episode and with very little information going in, I'll have to keep on my toes. Still, considering that the waves that the band are making recently, and given how they produce all of their own music, it's no shock that they could be the next Enter Shikari. Or better yet, the first Chemists. No? Let's face the music. We start with the band's debut album, Join the Queue. Released in 2009 through Ninja Tune and produced by the Chemists themselves, it's their longest album at 47 minutes and 59 seconds. It features a smattering of guest stars, the reasons for which I'll cover soon, but let's get through the guests themselves first. Mike Patton of Faith No More appears on the song Last Weekend, Jenna G of Uncut appears on the song On the Run, rapper Whaley appears on Dem Now Like Me, Zoe Devlin appears on SWAG, rapper ID appears on Drop Audio, beatboxer Beardy Man appears on Soundface, and rapper MC Navigator appears on the song Got One Life. Okay, now we can move on to the background. Sorry it took me so long. So the band actually didn't have its current lineup at the time, as it consisted of guitarist Liam Black, bassist/synth dude Dan Arnold, and drummer Leon Harris. They formed in the late 90s, at first getting interested in D&B and even getting some modest airplay. For a while after, they were playing as a rock band during the day, but were DJing in clubs at night, sort of like a weird vigilante superhero. But soon they learned to fuse those genres, getting their name in the process, and soon signing to Ninja Tune. The band knew what they were doing right off the bat, man, which is no surprise since they were sound engineers for the likes of Basement Jaxx and such. I'm not as super into the UK garage and D&B scenes as most people, but I know a big name when I see it, so kudos there. If that wasn't enough, their first release, which was a remix of Cold Cut's Everything Is Under Control, was supported by Zane Lowe, Cold Cut themselves, and Pendulum. Yes, that Pendulum. That one. It's weird. And that success would only grow as the first original song titled Stompbox, original single, titled Stompbox would appear in the films Jumper and Blitz, with their song Tomcat also appearing on the latter, and the song Dem Not Like Me in Your Revolution appearing in the movie 3 Minute Gaps, which is about mountain biking, apparently. But is the album good enough for all of that? Well, yeah, I like to think so. It's got a nice eclectic sound, and I don't know if it's because of Cell Dweller, but I like a good fusion of rock and metal with EDM elements where it's done right. Starset, another good example of that. And the Chemists know how to do it right. A lot of the structure does a great job of creeping up on you, maintaining a good balance and good beats, and the lyrics covering love, loneliness, crime, and some politics as well also do really good. The guest vocalists do a cracking job, as well as the band themselves. Liam has a good punch to his riff, Dan's bass is deep and toned well, and Leon's drumming is heavy and clean at the same time. Standout songs include Last Weekend, Dem Not Like Me, Stompbox, Got One Life, and my favourite, Drop Audio. Join the Queue is an apt title, as it introduces you to the band themselves, and the band sound, and the performance notes and production are really top quality, so yeah, I can recommend this one. We then reached their second album, Spirit in the System, released in 2010 through Ninja Tune. It was produced by the Chemists again, and it's their shortest album at 43 minutes and 51 seconds. And also, we have guest stars again, on all 10 songs, so let's get through this. Enter Shikari appear on Take It Back, Jenna G appears on Hurtless, Matt Rose and Bruno Bellante appear on Dirty Words, with the former also appearing on Your Revolution as well. Maxter and MCID appear on Renegade, with the latter appearing again on The Only Love Song. Chantal Brown appears on Fading Halo and Life's Too Short, and Robin Hawkins of the Automatic Appears in Apocalypse, and finally, Danish band Kellermensch appears on the song Bones. Now we can get onto the background. Ty Dillinger. So, yeah, you might have noticed that some of the songs I talked about were responsible for the band's success when talking about Join the Queue appeared here. That's because if you paid attention, they released the albums back-to-back within the space of about a year. Also, for those keeping up, or rather those who know more about the Chemists than I do, you'd recognise the names Matt Rose and Bruno Bellante. That would be because they have both become members of the band, with the former providing clean vocals and the latter providing a more MC rapping style. I guess that the reason why this album came out so quickly after their debut was because they weren't nearly as busy as they would be, but we'll get to that soon. Still, for an album that's only about 4 minutes shorter than its last one, it doesn't feel all that rushed, and despite only having 10 tracks, there's quite a bit to enjoy. I dare say the Spirit in the System has a much more laid-back approach than the Join the Queue does. There's less of a rock element to it, with more electronic and piano elements, but it does work. Even if I hated what they laid out here, then the album is mercifully short. Of course, that's if I hated it, which I don't. I like it, I just prefer the debut, but I think this one still holds up pretty well. And for an album that's almost 9 years old, it's also aged pretty well, which is mostly thanks to the production. The band really know how to tie everything up nice with what they do, and the lyrics about love, sex, boredom, and just enjoying life actually fit the album's mood. The guest stars are all pretty good, and the actual band are also really good. Liam has some good guitar riffs, Dan's got some good bass riffs, and Leon's drumming has some good drumming riffs. but it can all feel a little bit buried at times. Early at times, standard songs include Renegade, Life's Too Short, Bones, and my favourite in the intro track, Take It Back. Spirit in the System is short, fun, and while it can be buried under its own weight at times, it does still hold it up pretty well, so I can recommend this one. And finally, we move to the band's third and most recent album, Warrior Sound. Released in 2016, the band would switch labels to Amazing Records, and it was again produced by the Qemists. It also denotes the longest gap between albums with 6 years, and once again we have some guest stars, with Hacktivist appearing on Jungle, Kentakoya of Crossfaith appearing on Anger, Choila Rhymes appearing on Push the Line, and finally grime rapper Gets appearing on the song No Respect. This album also contains my first Qemists song in Run You, and it's also the first album to feature their current lineup. Now we can move on to the backgrounds. Love long backgrounds in this one. Good thing this is the last album. Now you may be wondering why the band took so long to release a new album. Well, one of the obvious reasons could be the label change, but another reason might be the lineup change, as we'll get into in 3, 2, 1. Now, so yeah, Leon Harris, Dan Old, and Leon Black are all still in the band, as is Bruno Balanta, but Matt Rose would leave the band between albums to be replaced by current vocalist Oliver Simmons, who I'll admit adds an interesting element to the band. Not just because he's a good vocalist, but because if you're going to add 2 vocalists in this style of music, you have to make sure that you're doing it right, which is what the Qemists did with Oliver and Bruno. I think that's a reason for the more rock edge here, and it's only further added by the band actually feeling like a band and not just a group of musicians who produced and brought some friends along to sing on the songs. And even with fewer guest stars than before here, all the guest stars still sound good. Anyway, back to the time between. I couldn't find a lot of information about it, but from what I could surmise based on their last 2 albums, maybe the band were busy doing a lot of touring? I mean, when your songs feature prominently in movies and TV shows, it's hard not to get noticed. Considering that most of those games are racing titles, it makes it even less surprising that those style of games are usually bought because they're entertaining and have killer soundtracks. Not just that, but the band worked on a fair number of remixes in that time and even managed to pump out an EP or 2 as well as some previous singles that would come out for this album like 3 years before the album was actually released. Not that any of that affected this album a lot, because it was definitely worth the wait, I think. I like the more rock-style pacing. There's more melody and measurement and better tone, and lyrics cover corruption, UK politics, homelessness, and gaining your own control, make the album more serious in its lyrics as well, and the band pull off the balance really brilliantly. Bruno and Oliver provide a fantastic new layer with a mix of rap vocals from the former and singing / screaming from latter going well, sort of making it a bit punk rocky in a way. Liam's riffs are nice and beefy, Dan's bass is a little toned, and Leon's drumming is heavy and timed well, and I like it. Standout songs include Run You, the title track, No Respect, Anchor, and my favourite in Let It Burn. Sorry about that. Warrior Sound has a cool name, a good sense of style and substance, good performances, and slick production. So, yeah, I can recommend this one as well. It's another positive episode. Most of the season has been. I don't know why. But there you go. So, let's round them up. My favourite is, I'd have to say Warrior Sound. It's just nice to have the band fully formed and stick to what they're good at while also taking themselves more seriously too. And I quite like it. Least favourite is maybe Spirit in the System. It just felt a bit too laid back at times, but I didn't hate it, and it's not as rushed as it would first seem. I guess that the band's original label would have brought the force over 50,000 soldiers if they didn't get it all done. More lyrical reference, but I had to get a pun in there anyway. Anyway, join me next time in the United States again, where I cover Park, Colorado's own Ransom Hero. Yeah, and as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.